Madam Speaker, there is much discussion these days about ethanol, and for far too long the federal government has been subsidizing ethanol production in a very big way. 3 years ago, Time magazine called ethanol and other energy biofuels the clean energy scam. Yet 3 years later, we are dumping more money than ever into the program. It is time to admit that the ethanol program has been a failure. A study mentioned in a recent column in the Washington Times said that our ethanol policies, if not changed, will cost American consumers more than $500 billion in the 10 years from 2008 to 2017. According to Time magazine, the biofuel boom is doing the exact opposite of what it was intended to do. The article calls corn ethanol environmentally disastrous. We went heavily into ethanol because it was supposed to be good for the environment. The very powerful environmental lobby pushed hard on this. Now we have found that it has done more harm than good, even to the environment. This just goes to show that when someone says something is good for the environment, it is usually because they are going to make money off of it or are going to increase contributions to their organization. I have an even greater concern that hits home with every American. The ethanol program is an economic disaster. We were promised that using ethanol to fuel cars would reduce gas prices. We were told it would reduce our dependence on foreign oil. If you look at the situation today, gas prices are close to $4 a gallon, or even higher some places, and we are still at the mercy of foreign producers to supply most of our oil. The only thing the ethanol program has done is raise the price of groceries. Hard-working Americans are paying more for milk, meats, and everyday items they need from the grocery store. This is because the price of corn has doubled in less than 2 years. In 2009, corn cost $3.30 a bushel. Today it costs roughly $7 a bushel. When the price of corn increases, it causes a chain reaction. Corn is used to feed livestock, which increases the price of beef and dairy products. Corn syrup is found in everything from cereal to salad dressing. Nearly everything at the grocery store costs more today than it did just 1 year ago. To turn corn into ethanol, it takes diesel fuel to run the machines, fertilizer, and months of hard work from farmers. A study by Cornell University estimates that it costs $4.50 to produce 1 gallon of ethanol. A gallon of pure ethanol has only about 2/3 the energy of a gallon of gasoline. Yet a lot of things we tend to do in Washington, like a lot of things we tend to do here in Washington, the cost is too high, and average Americans are the ones paying for it. In 2010, the federal government spent nearly $8 billion to subsidize the ethanol program. That number is probably closer to $12 billion when you count money from state and local governments. The bottom line is that corn should be used to fuel our bodies, not our cars. I would like to take a moment to tell you about a friend of mine, Harry Wampler. Harry Wampler is the owner of Wampler's Farm Sausage Company in Lenore City, Tennessee. The Wampler family started this company in 1937 and is one of the great small business success stories in my district. However, in 2010, Wampler Sausage lost money for the first time. They are now losing money every month. They are not losing money because all of a sudden they are no longer a great company. They are losing money because the cost of raw materials is far too high. Instead of paying 35 cents a pound for hogs like they did in 2009, they pay more than 50 cents a pound, a more than 40% increase in just 2 years. 40% increase in 2 years. To keep up, meat producers like Wampler's are forced to raise prices in the grocery store. The reason this is happening is simple. It takes a heck of a lot of corn to produce ethanol. The study I mentioned earlier by Cornell estimated that in 2009, 1/3 of U.S. corn was used to make ethanol. That is a lot of corn, but it only reduced America's oil consumption by 1.4%. In fact, if we were to take all of the corn produced on American farms and convert it to ethanol, it would replace a mere 4% of U.S. oil production. A lot of corn with very little result. Environmentalists shouldn't be happy with the ethanol program either. In this country and around the world, we are destroying forests, wetlands, and grasslands to make room to plant more corn. The program doesn't make sense for the economy or the environment, even though it was forced on us primarily by environmentalists. A lot of politicians are afraid to admit the ethanol program was a mistake because they are afraid to offend the farm lobby, and anyone considering running for president may be afraid to offend corn farmers in Iowa. But, Madam Speaker, we can no longer afford to waste money on this program that does not work.